being here, and I know that he appreciates you being here. And I just want to preface this by saying, I can play my flute in front of 1,000 people and never bat an eyelash. But if I have to come up and speak in front of people, it's kind of unnerving for me. So please bear with me, as I might have to refer to my notes a lot. So anyways, well, Joe, this might sound very cliche to say, but really, I can't believe it's been 30 years. I mean, where's the time gone? And I want to say it's been an honor and privilege to have been a part of this journey with you over the years. And as I've been reflecting on your path, the one thing that really stands out to me is that every step along the way has not been a coincidence, but a God incidence. As you have paid attention, and as you've always preached about paying attention to those things, to his still small voice in your spirit, and you've been totally aware of it from day to day. So I just think it's amazing how our God works and how likely he is in very unlikely circumstances. Who would have ever thought that while we were attending the #1 party school at West Virginia University way back in the, as esteemed by Playboy magazine, the very reputable, that we would have met at a spirit-filled Catholic prayer and praise meeting, and then later been drawn and taken over to participate in the only spirit-filled Episcopal church in the diocese, in our college town of Morgantown. And I think that God was surely at work during that time. As after we got married and your plans of attending seminary were becoming more concrete, you were encouraged by some very high up priests to probably attend the more prestigious, well-established seminaries around the country. And I think we even actually went to visit one. But you had this little nudge in your spirit that the Lord was calling you to this brand new established seminary in a little dying steel mill in Ambridge, Pennsylvania, of all places. All right, Ambridge. And you were sold on the place whenever, as part of your mission process, you had to give your testimony about knowing the Lord. And that sold you out, because no other place had made you do that. So anyway, our seminary journey days began, and those were really wonderful years of learning and deepening of your faith and being a part of a fabulous Christian community. And it was really amazing to see God's hand in all the church assignments that you were a student priest. The one in particular that really stands out to me was during our Midler year, that second year, and you were asked to be the student priest at the only spirit-filled church in the Diocese of Pittsburgh. It might not have been the only spirit-filled one, but that was the largest one. And it was at St. Martin's Episcopal Church, way on the other side of town, over an hour drive. And, we didn't mind driving, but then they said to him, we really want you to be back over here for 4 o'clock youth group. And we're like, really? All the other students don't have to do that. Why do we have to do that? But they were insistent that you come and do the youth group. So, we kind of bid it off for a couple weeks. And, it was kind of getting a little annoying, actually. Sundays were becoming a little bit unpleasant. I hate to say that. They kind of were. Father forgive, but, But so, and I was pregnant with Joey, and I was tired, and I thought, but if they really wanted you to do this youth group, so we said we would do it. And so we just said, Lord, you have to really help us out here. So we said, figure out a way. So the very, very next Sunday, I'm talking like 6 days later, we show up at church, and a young family who had 2 kids in the youth group asked us for lunch, and they said, why don't you spend the afternoon? And then they asked us to do it the next week, and the next week, and the next week, and that became one whole year of spending the afternoon in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, from like 7 in the morning until probably 8 or 9 o'clock at night. That's right, the only year, I know, anyways, but that was for great, great years. But we didn't really know why the Lord had really wanted you to be a part of the whole process. So as seminary was winding down, and everyone was wondering where the Lord was going to call you, and just everybody, what seemed like a pretty random phone call one day, you got a call from the headquarters of the Diocese of Pittsburgh asking you to develop a brand new program that they were starting as the youth advisor for the Diocese of Pittsburgh. And now we knew why they were insistent about bringing us back to the youth group all those years. And so you took on the challenge, you dug your heels in, and it was a brand new program, and you really developed it very, very well. And in your new position, you touched so many young lives, Joe, through the happening weekends, through a week-long youth conference at the church camp, to the weekly Bible studies where all those youth packed into our house. They sat on our chairs, our couches, on the floor, up the stairs. We had such a tiny house, but they just wanted to be together to soak in Christian love. And I will tell you, you always challenge them in their faith, but you always loved them where they were. And we had so much fun with those kids. We really did. And so as you felt, you always felt a call to be part of the military, and was grateful when the Lord opened that door for us. And after officer indoctrination school, what a surprise and a gift that your first duty station was the naval chaplain at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Woo-hoo, aloha! I hate to admit it that I started crying because we had just had our twins and I was going to leave my mother. He said, bring your mother with us. So along my mom came. So as you quickly found out, being the junior officer at Pearl Harbor, you got assigned to the sparsely attended 8 a.m. Protestant service. And you're like, Jan, don't be surprised when you only see like about 10 people here. But you listened to God and you just kept plugging away, doing your thing the way you do your thing. And word started to spread around that base. And what was starting to happen at that 8 a.m. Protestant service, and people started coming, and it started growing and growing and growing. And that was such a wonderful time, and we really became a family under your leadership, connecting us through faith and the Holy Spirit. Hawaii was such a special time of our lives, and we felt so sad when we had to leave the islands. But this desire was planted in our hearts that someday the Lord would bring us back to live in a vacation spot again. We didn't know what that was going to look like. But we knew. We really did it, I'm telling you. We were just sad. It was just a sad, sad day. So then your military career, while I went to graduate school, your military career took you to the first Gulf War and Desert Storm and SHIELD. And being part of that sea deployment, the Navy sailors really relied on you for your spiritual wisdom and guidance as months at sea separated them from their families. And it was really tough on them. And I know that you really, really meant a lot to them in your time with them. So after the war, you felt the Lord leading you in a new direction. And then we ended up in Cleveland, Ohio for 17 years. Who would have ever thought from the banks of the Pacific Ocean to the banks of Lake Erie, Ohio? So over the next 17 years, as you were an assistant rector, as you went on the speaking circuit, national speaking circuit for Food for the Poor, and then finally senior rector, these experiences, like most in life, had its ups and its downs. We had great ups and we had great downs. But I also know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, that especially in the difficult times, the Lord was closer to you and us more than any other time. His love and grace and mercy sustained us more than anything. And as you were faithful to him, he was beyond faithful to you and to us. And your ministry in Ohio and around the country, and actually around the world, whenever you were taking all your mission trips, really really impacted so many people in a positive way. And I don't think you'll ever really know the extent of that. I really don't. So after 17 years living on the banks of Lake Erie in Bay Village, Ohio, Joey, our oldest, was out on his own, and Lisa and Lauren were graduating from high school. We felt the Lord nudging us once again about his next step on our journey, never forgetting about our desire to live in a vacation spot. He kept telling us to pray and not be anxious. So, it's hard not to be anxious whenever you really want to get out of Cleveland, Ohio. Sorry, I saw a couple Cleveland people here today. I know, I see. So then God, in his really serendipitous kind of way, starts to work. And about this time, Joe and I were just watching a news show one evening, and the program was about this Domino's pizza guy who wanted to start a family values Christian community in Florida and call it Ave Maria. And I said, Joe, that sounds kind of cool. And so I said, the concept was very appealing to me, and I thought, well, maybe this is where the Lord wants us to be. Florida seemed like it was kind of vacation-y. I didn't know much about Florida. So I started to research and found out that this Christian community was being built around a Catholic university and the biggest Catholic oratory in all of, I don't even know, like Florida, I guess. And I thought, well, Lord, that's interesting. Where's Joe going to work? Because he obviously has to work. And so he has to work. Heavens, that's right. So I started to do some more research, and I found that, Ave Maria was near Naples, and then I researched some more, and I saw that there was an Episcopal church. The first one that came up on the Google search was St. John's, and they had just lost their priest, and they were just starting the beginning stages of the search process. So as they say, the rest is history. So Joe, on this 30th anniversary, I want to thank you for allowing me the honor and privilege to have taken this incredible journey with you. You are a kind, compassionate, and caring priest with vision and fortitude. You inspire people to seek a closer relationship with Christ and strive to set an example as you live your Christian values every day. You understand the importance of helping others to develop strong Christian relationships with each other, which I believe has really been a hallmark of your entire ministry. You have been faithful to the Lord since accepting him at 17 years old, never wavering in your faith, such a testament to me and to so many others. He ordained you for this work, and you have done a fabulous job. Countless people have been touched by your ministry, and I know the Lord is smiling down on you and saying, "Well done, my faithful servant." I love you.
Where the
right,
Kleenex
ladies and
at?
gentlemen. Hopefully mine's not as tear-filled. I got a quick little thing, short and sweet, and then it's off to the food. So, my name is Joey Miyako. I am Father Joe's son. And so when I really started to think about what I was going to share to encapsulate my dad's 30th anniversary being ordained, my 5th birthday came to mind. Now, when you're a kid, your 5th birthday is a pretty big milestone, mainly because you can just raise one hand when someone asks how old you are. I'm 5. I'm 5. So I can remember the day quite vividly. We're at my grandpa's house in Pittsburgh. My entire family was there, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, the whole nine. By this point, I pretty much understood the gist of birthdays: cake, party, and presents. Man, did I love presents. Especially when you're that young, presents are pretty much everything. So leading up to my birthday, I can remember my mom saying something about a big present that might be getting there late. I was like, big present? Hold the phone. Immediately I thought, I began obsessing what it could be. I had friends who had gotten Power Wheels. I was really into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at the time. So my mind was just racing with what this big present could be. And so finally the big day arrived, and it was a lot of fun. Friends, family, cake, and most importantly, these presents. I can remember getting a couple shirts, some basic stuff, but I was really waiting for that big one to come along. And I remembered very, very vividly, I was sitting in the middle of a table, large dining room, decorations to my left and right. My mom and dad come around from a big corner with this present. And I thought it was going to be a huge box, because when you're younger, the bigger the box, the better the present. But, it was actually much smaller. It was about the size of a book. So, dying from anticipation, I immediately opened it. It wasn't really anything extravagant or amazing. Wasn't a Power Wheels or any kind of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It was a Bible. A thin black Bible with my name inscribed in gold lettering. Now, truth be told, at the time I was a little disappointed, confused, but I was 5. I was looking for the big present. So I'm sorry to hear that, but not trying to lie. But the funny thing is, it's taken me the better part of 25 years to realize that on that day, my dad really did give me something amazing, something extravagant, something not many parents give their children in such a grand gesture. On that day, he gave me the truth, gave me the way, the building blocks to a successful life in God and Christ. And as I look out into this congregation, I can only assume that he's done that for many of you, helped you along your path, been there when you needed him to be, done for you as he's done for me. So, Dad, on this day, I want to thank you for giving me this Bible 25 years ago. God bless you.
Amen. I love you.